So I've been saying for a while, folks, that we need to pay more attention to Megyn Kelly. And I know that that's pretty disappointing because, frankly, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. But we need to be aware of what she's saying because, hey, she's got 2.5 million subscribers now. She's gained a lot of steam. It really kind of seems like she's shifted her strategy from merely kind of maintaining her own little corner to rightly looking around her market demographic and seeing major titans implode upon themselves like Steven Crowder and other right-wing pillars, I guess. She's trying to make an effort to rebuild her lost empire. And so she's been kind of pushing herself everywhere. And yesterday, she was joined by the hosts of the Ruthless podcast, which I think is associated with the Patrick Bet-David network of podcasters. I feel like I recognize a couple of them from that show, but it might have just been like they might be their own independent thing. Well, let's find out, okay? Because they wanted to talk about Mark Robinson, the lieutenant governor of North Carolina, who's angling to become governor of North Carolina for the Republican Party, and who was outed yesterday as in his own words, a black Nazi who cheated on his wife with her sister, and took fashion photography with his set of dolls that he liked to dress up in SS uniforms. So, yeah, we talked about that yesterday. Yeah, he also did identify himself as a perv and as a as someone who has a deep and profound love for transgender pornography. Because, of course, every single bigot in this business wants to sleep with us. It's just how it goes. Our cross to carry, I guess. Our cross to bear, rather. So, in the wake of all this, I'm kind of curious to see how is Megyn Kelly going to spin this? Because you can't really spin a guy proudly declaring himself a black Nazi. That's not really a spin you can do, you know? I get the feeling that this black Nazi meme is going to be harmful to black folks in the long run. Oh, absolutely! Absolutely!
Bit of breaking news here. It involves the North Carolina gubernatorial race, which we haven't been covering really at all. But we do watch these state races from time to time because they can, if there's, one person who runs away with it or one person who absolutely is engulfed in scandal, it can depress the vote potentially for that party or inflate the vote for the other. So this would be, in that category, bad news for the Republicans. In that state, there is a retiring governor, Roy Cooper, who's a Dem, and the race to replace him is between the lieutenant governor, Mark Robinson, a Republican, and the North Carolina Attorney General, Josh Stein, a Dem. Mark Robinson has found himself engulfed in controversy. He's made a lot of controversial comments that we already know about.
You know, you had a guest that said the N-word with the hard R on your show the other day. Are you just going to gloss over what his comments were?
A lot of us first noticed him because we don't pay a lot of attention to the lieutenant governors in the various states when this clip went viral where he was making a lot of sense about the gender issue. Apparently, the sensible...
By the way, the lot of sense on the gender issue that she's talking about was when Mark Robinson was angrily doing rage-filled rants about how trans people are demons and, how some people just need killing. That kind of stuff. That's when Megyn Kelly says he was making a lot of sense.
Comments were not uniform on all subjects, but here's just a reminder for our audience of Mark Robinson.
You can go to the doctor and get cut up. You can go down to the dress shop and get made up. You can go down there and get drugged up.
For some reason, I really didn't anticipate her attempting to glaze Mark Robinson to downplay the black Nazi. Dude literally declared that he was a black Nazi and that if he could, he would join the KKK.
But at the end of the day, you were
He
just
wanted to bring back slavery.
a drugged up,
He literally posted about wanting to buy some himself.
dressed up, made up, cut up, man or woman. You ain't changed what God put in you, that DNA.
Well, that kind of sensible talking is what.
Was that sensible talking? If someone came to your house and gave that exact speech, would you? Oh yes, what a sensible opinion to have. No, you did. That's fucking crazy. Dude's like ranting and raving on the stage about modern medicine, about not even just like fringe, like experimental modern medicine either, just like straight up proven, has been around for over a century modern medicine. It's not even modern anymore, it's just medicine.
Drew a lot of fans his way. However, it looks like he's about to potentially be forced out of this race. Publication Carolina Journal reporting now that sources with direct knowledge have spoken to them on the condition of anonymity and said that Robinson is under pressure from staff and members of the Trump campaign to withdraw from this race due to the nature of a story that's about to hit tonight, which they say involves, quote, activity on adult websites.
Oh, was this recorded? It went up, I guess it went up yesterday. So this was prior to them knowing he was a black Nazi. Wow. Some things take a bit to age, like a week or two. Other things age like a fine wine in the span of just a handful of hours.
In the 2000s. National Review also reporting on it, saying it involves sexual and race-related comments in chat rooms. So that's a little different.
Wait, so is this a 10-minute long segment of you and four bozos trying to guess what it could be and like preemptively trying to downplay it? Because if so, this is going to be one of the funniest, I don't know, 7 minutes we've ever done.
Then activity on adult websites. We don't know exactly what the nature of the quote scandal is,
Danny.
but according to the Carolina Journal, even Team Trump is distancing itself from him and potentially even pressuring him to withdraw. The Robinson campaign responded, the director, communications director, quote, whomever your sources are here, it is complete fiction. So they've been given, tonight is actually the deadline. It's the state deadline to withdraw from the race. And this is Oppo research that was leaked to the media by his opponent, the campaign of his opponent, who leaked it to CNN and local Raleigh news outlets.
I do have to say one thing. One thing that's amazing here is that apparently people in Democratic circles have had like this information for like the last 4 or 5 years and have just been sitting on it because they knew he was going to run for governor. And they apparently waited until the day it became too late to withdraw. And then they dropped this and now it's chaos. It's too late. They can't replace him with anybody else. That, if that's true, and I have not verified if that's true, but if that's true, that's incredible. Well done.
At WRAL, expected to hit airwaves tonight. So, is it important? Do we care?
Yeah. I mean, we care a lot. You may
And Coulter 2.0.
or may not have noticed, but the Republican Party over the last few years has run into a touch of a candidate quality problem from time to time. This would certainly be one of them.
Wait, who are these people? Josh Holmes, someone named Comfortably Smug, Michael Duncan, and John Ashbrook. I have no idea who these people are.
A problem from time to time. This would certainly be one of them.
Do you think that they started their show right after the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg? And then they just named their show Ruthless? If so, that is kind of funny.
Look, North Carolina is a really important state. The problem that you have is when you get down ballot and you're dealing with governor's races, there's not a Senate race there this year. But if there's somebody who just lags the field significantly, it depresses turnout, or at least has the capacity to depress turnout in a very meaningful way. And in the state where you need every last Republican vote for Donald Trump to get to 270 on the
Gotcha,
Electoral
Paladin.
College. Any little thing like this is potentially extremely problematic. I mean, Smug, you're from North Carolina. What's the take?
I think there is among Republicans in North Carolina a lot of frustration because Republicans have a supermajority in the state legislature. They control the state House, the state Senate, and both Senate seats in North Carolina to the United States Senate are Republicans as well. It seems like for a while, governors just eluded part of the Republican majority in the state. And so for Republicans, the most important thing is to win. They need to get the governor's mansion under Republican control because for so long, you've seen the state start to take this like leftward tilt, which actually doesn't reflect the voters of the people of North Carolina. And so
Except that it does, though. The voters put in Democratic governor. Like, you can't argue it doesn't reflect their views.
for Republicans, this hunger to win is, I mean, it can't be overstated how bad.
Man, listening to Republicans badly explain democracy and like always get it fundamentally wrong every time, like it bothers me, man. Like it was so fascinating when we did that segment going back and watching, I think it was the JFK and Nixon debate. And just like fundamentally, both of those men had liberal worldviews that agreed on like the basics of like a liberal society, right? And we are so far gone from that. These people genuinely don't even understand how the system works. They just yap. Now, Nixon was liberal. When I say liberal, I don't mean in the sense of like, oh, liberal and conservative. No, I mean it in like the sense that in like the 1960s, there was an understanding of liberalism in America that people fundamentally agreed on. Okay? Nixon wasn't good. If you heard me say that, that's not what I said. Okay? There was an understanding of liberalism as a concept, but now we've gone to neoliberalism, neoconservatism. We're beyond those things now because America's been descending into fascism. And so what I'm trying to explain here is that 60 years ago, conservatives and liberals, the left and the right, broadly in America, had an agreement on like some fundamental pillars of our political system. That's no longer the case. And none of these people understand how the system works because understanding how the system works is immaterial to their actual positions.
We need this race. You see Donald Trump is neck and neck with Kamala Harris in North Carolina, and voters tend to break late in the state of North Carolina. So while there's time, whatever decision needs to be made, whatever can lead to a win at the top of the ticket and the governor's
Did you guys know that Biden's not a leftist?
Race needs to be done.
North Carolina is important. The latest poll, which we were going to get to in this block, is from Emerson Polling, showing them neck and neck in these swing states. In North Carolina, Trump was up 1 in August. Now it's showing a 2-point swing to Harris. Harris up 1. All of that is within the margin of error, and thus there could have been absolutely no movement from August to now. But anyway, for what it's worth, she's showing up 1, which just tells us it's just as tight as it could be there. So every tiny movement could potentially matter.
Yeah. I mean, no question about it. Look, if this was the Democratic Party, that guy would be packing up the printer cartridges right now. Republican Party, look, we've had a problem when it comes to trying to figure out how to put our best team on the field in some of these races over the years. I think the Senate Republicans, who had a huge problem in 2022, corrected that under the leadership of Steve Daines at the Senatorial Committee. But it is a problem. And if you leave these things to their own sort of merits, they often just don't work out for you. And this is one of the prime examples.
I think the only mistake Democrats made is if they really have the goods on this guy, they should have waited till after the deadline.
Right. But he's
oh God. Why? Chat, why? Why does it have to be this way? Why does it have to be this way? Why when I make a comment about how like 60 years ago the political system and the political actors that operated in it had a different fundamental worldview, like why is that controversial? Why is it controversial to be like, yes, in the 1960s, like, hey, the left and the right broadly had some fundamental agreements. The right just generally wanted stuff like free market solutions, whereas on the left you had New Deal adherents of liberalism. Like, I was making a throwaway comment just to talk about like how we've come into like this post-factual era, and like I should be able to just say like a basic fact. Just oh my god, I need to be less historically minded with my rhetoric, I guess.
It's already trailing.
Yeah.
What's a girl to do?
You know, I mean, here's the thing.
He's
Megyn,
behind, I think, by 8.
Yeah, this is a near double-digit margin between where he's at the ballot and where Donald Trump is on the ballot. That in and of itself, before whatever this story is hits, tells you about the quality of this campaign that he's running. You can't have it. You can't have it in elections with stakes this high, where the American people and the people of North Carolina's entire fortunes are riding here. You can't, as a party, just sort of throw it up, let go, and let God and hope something works out in your favor. Like, these things take a lot of work to ensure that you get the right candidate match with the right constituency in statewide elections, particularly purple states and ones that are going to be ultimately very competitive.
I'm just frustrated.
I love the I think it's a Goodfellas reference. I can't have it, right? Paul Sorvino. I can't have it. I can't have it.
Can't have it.
Yeah.
Man, there is absolutely no repartee here.
Yeah, you can't have it, but you're about to have it. And by the way, for what it's worth, the Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson's spokesperson, Michael Lonergan, told National Review Online just now that it is a, quote, complete fiction that Robinson will drop out of this year's North Carolina gubernatorial race. Tough to know what to wish for. I guess he's going to do whatever he's going to do. It's kind of...
Well, Megyn,
the ship has sailed at this point.
I'll see your movie reference and I'll raise you one with Bronx Tale. And tomorrow for Robinson, it's like Bronx Tale, where they lock the door and now yous can't leave.
Yeah.
Well done,
I mean,
sir.
to my understanding, mail-in ballots are going out tomorrow.
I mean, my understanding, alt fact, is that he can't drop out now.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
this is a very small window.
Thing is probably baked.
Yeah, exactly right. It's baked. And they probably did hold it until right now for that reason, right? Just as long as they possibly could.
Yeah, so what did we get out of that, actually? I feel like I wasted our time going through that segment because she talked for the first, like, third of the video, and then the functional commentary we got was, well, it's going to be a close race, Megyn. And she's like, yeah, it's divided by only 1 percentage point, so it's going to be pretty close. And then, another guy's like, oh, well, anything could upset this race, but tomorrow he's going to be locked in. And then she's like, yeah, you're right. Commercial break. And that's the end of the segment. That was really weird.
Durable Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and Swishy streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord.